We'll keep it in our back pocket.
That's right. Hello, science enthusiasts. Welcome to Pet Chat. It's the wholesome, open microphone version of our science spaces. I am Jason, aka Dad Guy.
And I'm Chris, aka Mummy Fave.
In this space, we're going to play a game. There's a prize. Then Chris and I are going to break down our favorite stories about Bunsen and Beaker from this week. And then we'll open up the floor to questions from the audience. Questions or stories about their own pets. We have a sponsor this week, and I'd be remiss if we didn't start off with mentioning our wonderful sponsor. Our sponsor is barkandbeyondsupply.com. That's an amazing website for dogs and cats. It's so good. They got all these wonderful products and treats. They're a small family-owned business that went to work and created the best product line of joint supplements for dogs. They're safe and effective and only manufactured here in the United States. Well, they're in the United States. We're in Canada. And they're proud of their small but humble beginnings. And they're excited that they've expanded the product line to include toys, shampoos, treats, and a whole lot more. You can see barkandbeyondsupply.com. They are actually in the chat today, and we'll be throwing up some of their tweets throughout the space, and you can head over there and check it out. They sell banana chips for dogs, Chris.
That's amazing.
I know. That's what I was thinking. We're going to have to check that out. Banana?
I think Bunsen would really like those, and Beaker.
Yeah, they love fruit. They absolutely love fruit.
So this is something that we've kept kind of quiet. One night about 3 weeks ago, Bunsen was having his typical toddler time. And I was rubbing his tummy, and right near his arm, I felt a bit of a lump. And I said, Jason, I think I feel a bit of a lump. And Jason said, well, I'm sure it's nothing. I said, well, I'm sure it's nothing too. But we ended up taking him to the vet. And it turned out it is nothing. It's just that a lipoma, which is a common benign mass made up of fat cells. So that's what happened for us this week. That was maybe not. It was a bit worrisome because, of course, we want our dogs to be the healthiest and happiest dogs on the planet. But yeah, so we went to the vet and we were given the option of, you can just watch it. And or we could put him under and remove it, or we could just aspirate some of it right now. And I said, that's the one I want. And so the vet, he's like, if you just hold his head and I'll just reach around him. Well, Bunsen was not really interested in that. So the vet had to tackle him to the floor. And my stepdad actually came with me. And so Gord was on the floor on Bunsen's. On Bunsen's.
I was teaching, wasn't I? Wasn't I teaching? Like, didn't you do this at the very? Yeah.
It was at the end of the day. Yeah. So like I was able to take him to the vet. It was like after school hours, but very close to the end of the day. You still would have been teaching. Mm-hmm. So yeah, the two men are laying on the floor. I grabbed the needle and then he sucked up some cells and he stained them, and then he called us later and said, yeah, it's just that lipoma. It's located under the skin. He showed me how to feel them. If more come, then they're going to be independent of each other. But yeah, he's like, so this is what you're feeling for if there's any changes. But basically it's a fatty mass that dogs, middle-aged to geriatric dogs get. So like I mentioned, Bunsen is middle-aged. Yeah. Well, he'll be 5 in May. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so that's my story from this week. It was a busy week, parent-teacher interviews. So I was calling parents from home because I'm an online teacher. And Bunsen also thought that was part of, pet chat. And so he was barking at the parents. So that was embarrassing. That also happened this week. It makes sense because I'm noticing Bunsen getting close to middle age. He's starting to complain about the government more often. Yes. So today at Wagon Play, there was the young sprightly little ones, and they were running around, and he was like going, that's too much energy. So it's like he's a grumpy old man. Yeah. No, he's not. He's happy.
Well, I'll talk about my story, and then we'll open up the floor to our audience to share stories about their pets. So, unfortunately, you weren't there for Beaker's level 2 test. We redid level 2 with Beaker. She had some stuff she needed to improve on. She came so far. You had parent teacher interviews, as you mentioned, right? And then we had to do the level 2 obedience test. And like if you don't do training with your dog, it would be impossible to do any of this stuff. Right, like especially if you have a high energy dog like Beaker, she had to hold her a down stay for 3 minutes. She had to hold a sit stay by my side for a minute. She had to maintain eye contact with me for 30 seconds. She had to get up on a stool and do pivoting. She's amazing at that. And then she had to do verbal commands. It's like down, sit, stay, stand, in different orders and as fast as you can. Where she struggles the most, actually, Chris, what she still needs more work on is on the leash. So you had to do a figure 8 around where other 2 dogs were working, and Beaker just wants to go see them. So that was really tough for her. So I may or may not have scented my hand a bit with cheese. So I kept her focused on me instead of the dogs just to get her through that. But that's one thing that we need to work on. What was one of the other things that she's really good at? Oh, like any of the agility stuff, she's so good at it. Like any like walking around your body or the speed cues, like sit down, stand. She can do that like super, super fast. I think she did 22 of them in 30 seconds or something like that. So that's where she really shines, is the agility stuff. And she passed, and we were so proud of her. I know she's like it's a dog, but I mean they're like your kids. I'm proud of my kids when they pass stuff. I'm proud of Beaker when she passed stuff. So that's the story about Beaker. Do you have anything else from this week, Chris?
I don't want to talk about the fish tank.
Okay. All right. Well, now that you've said that, somebody might ask you about the fish tank. Is that like we don't talk about Bruno? We don't talk about the fish tank?
Yeah, sorry. I am like very highly distracted.
Okay, it's okay. I'll just move on.
The dogs are needing now Kongs because they've eaten their chews. Because the chews that I bought, although they're the same brand, they seem to be a lot not as robust. So
yeah, they chew through them pretty quickly, pun intended.
Yeah, I was actually surprised. Anyway, so now I can talk till the end of time because now they're busy with their Kongs that I had to find.
I think the only other thing to mention is Bunsen found deer leg live on our live stream on like I've started the Friday live walks. I used to do them all the time, and then something switched with the signal or something, Chris, and we didn't get signal down through the creek bed. And it was just something we did every Friday, like all through the winter and all through the summer. And we had like 50 to 100, sometimes more than that, 150, 200 people would tune in just to go on a walk with us. I think maybe it was part of the pandemic, right? Everybody was like trying to see other parts of the world and you couldn't actually get there. And then, the signal changed. So I couldn't get service down there, and it changed back. I don't know. So they changed something up there, and and on the walk, Bunsen found a deer leg half buried in the snow. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, because I know when he's found something, he goes over and he has, like, I can just tell by his body language. It's happened so often now. You're like, what are they doing? And I'm like, he's found a leg, guaranteed. And sure enough, it was a deer leg.
I know, but we had gone out earlier that week, and it probably had more snow on it. But he was acting suspicious at that same location.
That's right. Yeah, it was buried under so much snow. Like it's the amount of snow that's melted lately has been outrageous. The creek we can't even cross now. I think you'd get swept away in parts of it. Anyways, it was very cool, I'm sure, for the people that were watching live, because it happened live. Like we talk about it there, we have videos of him finding moose legs and deer legs and things like that. And then finally it happened live. And like you said, I'm sure people think that I don't know, walk 2, 3, 5 kilometers out in the boonies and throw a leg on the ground and to have Bunsen find it. Like, no, they're just out there from animals that, people are always like, why are there so many legs? Well, we do live in a very kind of like, there's nobody around us, right? We don't live in a city. We live in the middle of nowhere. And it's forested. It's traditionally called the Hunting Hills, what the First Nations people of this area called the area where we live. It was called the Hunting Hills. So like, that's where the animals live, and they either don't make the winter because the winters are harsh and some of the older ones die. And then you can think what would happen to an animal that dies with coyotes and foxes around and whatever else, or they could have been got by a hunter, and then some hunters leave the legs behind. There's not a lot of meat on them, or it could be a poacher. I hope it's not a poacher. So, actually a cougar could have taken them out because the the cougars follow the river in the winter, and that's the most terrifying thing is the cougars taking out some old moose or old deer.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, we actually had a horse die down there.
Yes.
Yeah, she was pregnant and we had a freak storm in the spring, and she didn't come home, and we're like, oh, and we couldn't get her out. We got a tractor and we couldn't pull her out. And it was like very, very sad.
That was like, I wasn't on the farm then.
No.
Yeah, the winters are no joke when there's a storm.
They're no joke.
Yeah.
No.
Pretty intense.
And even it being treed, it wasn't enough. And she was pregnant and probably started to have the baby, and they both died. It was horrific.
Well, that's a sad story for this space, but that's just
that's life. That's the circle of life, right?
Yeah, that explains maybe why there's so many moose legs. Okay, well, we're going to open up the floor to our audience. If you have questions about Bunsen and Beaker, we'd love to answer them. And if you have your own pet story that you'd like to share, we'd love for you to share them. Just remember, this is a wholesome, fun, family-oriented space. So no bad language, and we'd love to hear your story, but stories about pets, not stories about your job or something like that. Okay. I think Maxwell Little has been waiting the longest. So we'll bring Maxwell up first, and then Chris, you can organize the rest of them.
Thank you for letting me speak. Just real quick, we had a Manchester Terrier. I don't know if you guys know what that is.
I'm Googling it.
It's a kind of a mid-sized dog, but we lived down here in Dallas.
Yeah.
And we had a fence around the house already, and it was a 6-foot fence. And actually it was an 8-foot fence, I'm sorry. And our dog named Mandy would get from one side of the fence to the other side of the fence. So she'd back herself up and she'd start running. And she would leap and she would climb over the 8-foot fence.
Wow.
And then, because I let her out one day, I was like, 10 minutes later, I walked back out. I'm like, where'd she go? And all of a sudden, we hear this barking, and we open the front door, and there she is. She had jumped over the fence, and we had to put chicken wire. We had to put chicken wire on top of the fence in order to get her from jumping. So that was an interesting story. Is it okay to tell funny medical stories, or is that not allowed?
Well, as long as it's around pets, right? Not medical stories about humans.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So
and Max, I have a follow-up question for you.
What
was the Manchester Terrier? Like, I've got pictures of it on Google right now. Did yours have the floppy ears or the pointy ears?
Pointy ears.
Pointy ears? Okay, cool.
Yes.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So we a couple of years ago, I worked for a vet office, and I was a vet tech, and I was at the front talking, and a guy came rushing into the house to the clinic. And he said, "My dog he's having trouble he was having trouble going to the bathroom, and he kept hogging, and they didn't know why. So we just put the dog on an X-ray table And come to find out that he had eaten two $5 bills and a Susan B. Anthony coin.
Okay.
So it was, we took him to, we drove him to the ER. And so, but yeah, that was, the owner told us after all that, the total bill of everything was roughly about $5,500.
Whoa.
So yeah, it wasn't cheap. So it took about the dog about a month and a half to recover from that surgery.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
so that's just where, thank you.
Well, those are great stories, Max. I'm glad there was a happy outcome too for the medical one. That's great. Chris, that you know how we say, oh man, that when Bunsen and Beaker poop, we can just see the money that we've spent on their food. I think Max's story is completely directly related to money when they poop.
If he pooped it out, unless they,
yeah, that's true.
surgically removed the money.
Surgically removed it. That's right.
There you go.
Who's next, Chris? Who's up?
So, there was like a huge flood.
I know, there's like 10 people.
I've never had that happen before. So, I believe it's the herd and then Snickerdoodle.
Perfect.
Hi.
Hi. How's it going? It's good to see you.
Oh, thanks. We had a pretty intense week.
Mm-hmm.
I'll try and keep it short. Last Thursday, we were told that Posey's cancer was more aggressive and had moved into her lungs. We lost her on Saturday. On Sunday, I was talking with the rescue, and they had a dog with, some problems, but not at the level that I usually take on. And they said, have you seen Phoenix? He has a wheelchair, and we were signing contracts about 5 minutes later. I didn't read his full story. I saw his picture and my heart melted. Epic transfer story. He flew from Los Angeles on a plane into Salt Lake City. Their flight got bumped. My phone was just jammed in the airport. I had baggage, do the overhead speaker with the dog named Phoenix, please report to the baggage area, and nobody showed up. And, it was fantastic. And then the drive home to Idaho, we bonded. He sat in the basket in the front seat, and it's like he's always been here, and it's only been a couple of days. It's incredible. I do have a fish tank story. My Oscar fish decided he wanted to try and fly. If anybody knows the old show WKRP in Cincinnati.
Oh, I do. I love that show.
Turkeys cannot fly. Turkey fish cannot fly. So he's injured, and I did some water treatments. We'll see, kind of how he does. Oh, and the dragons woke up from hibernation. So Norberta will be back.
Norberta's back. Yay.
She's back. And just everybody remember, she's controversial. I have no power over what she says. So don't get mad at me.
That's like Beaker's uncensored tweets on our private Patreon.
The private
Twitter account.
It is. I have some that only go on TikTok because they just can't go anywhere else.
Well, first off, I'm so sorry to hear about the passing of Posey. Did I say that right? Posey?
Yep, Posey.
Yeah, Posey.
She had a great run with us, though.
Mm-hmm.
She went from being defeated to just absolutely loving life, and we did justice by her. So I don't think anybody has any regret of doing what we did for her.
And I have your video of Phoenix up in the nest if people want to check that out.
Yeah. He's doing so good. He does the wheelchair great now that I figured out how to put it on him. Today he used his ramp and got up and down off the couch all by himself. We have a bag system to give him more freedom. He's afraid of hardwood floors. I think he had a slip and fall accident, and me having my own, I completely understand that. I don't go to the end of the driveway. He's just absolutely incredible. He is so full of life. I'm really lucky to have him and care for him.
Oh. Well, thanks for coming and sharing your story. And best wishes with Phoenix. I hope it goes great. It's a lot of work what you do, and Chris and I are always in awe of what you do. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. It's a full-time job, but it's the best job in the world. It's so much better. Okay, but it's my turn to be me. And Chris, what's your fish tank story? Nudge, nudge.
Oh, I have to maybe at the end. It's a crazy story. You know, like all the stuff that happens with us is like crazy. Like we could write a book.
Yes.
With all these chapters in our lives. And this chapter is called What Shenanigans Does Chris Get Into and How Can We Save Her from Herself? The fish tank story goes into that chapter.
Well, if I use my government name, Christine, we can have a Chris and Chris book of, you know, how far things can go. I won't force you to share your story, though.
Okay. Well, we have. You know what? If we didn't have all these wonderful people in the lineup, maybe.
Yeah.
But we've
I
got quite a
guarantee you
few.
they're gonna wait to hear your story, Chris.
They're gonna wait.
Well,
I know they are. 100%.
Okay, let's pass it off to someone else. I see a lot of names up there.
Okay, thank you. We'll go to Snickerdoodle, then Baden, also known as Rich.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh my dog. This is my dog. I have a story. It's kind of long, but I'm going to try to make it short. Child, be quiet. So a number of years ago, we adopted a dog from my neighbor. He wasn't able to handle it anymore. And her name was Sheba. And she had a favorite place in the hallway that she used to lie. She could see the bedrooms and the living room and the kitchen. She could keep an eye on the whole house. And I have to tell you this part, otherwise the second part won't make sense. And about 13 years ago, just before Christmas, she had a ruptured spleen. And we had to take her into the vet, and there was no choice. We had to put her to sleep. But while we were waiting to go to the vet, she was in the kitchen lying on the floor. And my husband took her in, and he's one of these strong, silent types, doesn't show his emotion. But he said that when he left the vet, he could feel her get back in the car with him. And he says, I brought her home. I know that. Well, I was devastated about this. And Christmas was ruined. The winter was horrible. Come the spring, I said, we've got to get another dog. I can't stand this anymore. And he said, well, if you can find one, to go ahead. Well, I had been checking with the SPCA and I had been looking at the paper and there wasn't anything. The day after he said, go ahead, get one, an ad came up in the paper for a litter of puppies. So I went up to see these pups. There's only 3 of them left. And 2 of them were just playing around, not paying any attention to me. But I had a feeling I was being looked at. And I looked over and there's this little black ball of fluff sort of under the trees, just staring at me, just as if, hey, I'm here, come and see me. So I called him. He came over to me. I picked him up, held him for about 10 minutes. He never fussed, nothing. I figured, okay, he's the one. So we brought him home. He'd never been in the house before. He was about 2.5 months old. He'd never been in a house before. But we brought him home and let him get oriented. The first thing he did was go into the hallway and plunk himself down on the spot where my other dog used to lie all the time. And I thought, oh, okay. Then later on, he hadn't been fed, so he was hungry. He went into the kitchen and he went and sat in the spot where we used to have the other dog's food bowls. He went and sat right there and waited to be fed. And I thought, well, that's interesting. And I also noticed after a few days that he would walk around the spot on the kitchen floor where my other dog had been lying. He wouldn't walk across that spot. He walked around it for about a month. And his first year, his behavior was so much like the other dog. It was unbelievable. He was doing things, we would teach him 2, maybe 3 times maximum, and he would catch on to how to do something. And he would do things on his own that wasn't just instinct. It was almost as after his first year, his own personality seemed to start to come out a little bit more. And it almost felt, and this is going to sound weird, and I don't really care. It's almost for the first year, the other dog was sort of guiding him and telling him, okay, you do this and you don't do that. But after a year, you're on your own now. And I never felt her presence in the house at all after that. But I could feel her presence here. And whether people want to believe that dogs have souls or, the afterlife or whatever, but I've never experienced this with my dogs before. And it was just so strong. Just the things that he did when there was absolutely no reason why he would know how to do these things here. So I just thought I'd share that, and people can take it for what it's worth. But there was a presence there from our other dog.
Well, I'm not going to be a one to judge anything that you say about a lost pet like that. That's all good. There's a really wonderful line that I think about when I remember Callan, our golden that we lost before Bunsen, and it's from all of places. It's from WandaVision on Disney Plus. It's like a Marvel TV show, and the quote is what is grief if not love enduring?
Yes, I've seen that. Yes.
Yeah, and I love that. That that sums up what we feel when we lose our pet. We feel grief, but it's just the love that just clings to you. I'd be lying if I look at Beaker sometimes, because she's a golden, and my heart just catches in my throat, right? Because I'm like, oh my God, it's Callan, but no, it's Beaker. So I hear you. That's a beautiful story, though. Thank you for sharing.
Well, thank you very much. I would love to be able to stick around and hear Chris's fish tank story, but I have to go. So maybe you'll post it on Twitter or something.
It's this one is being recorded today. I'm trying something new, so you will be able to listen to it on Twitter after. So yeah.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, well, thank you for listening to my story. And like I said, people can take it for what it's worth. But I look in a dog's eyes, and I thought, there's no way. You can't say there isn't a soul in there somewhere, Anyway, thanks very much for listening.
No problem. I don't know if you can talk, Chris.
Well, what? Because you can hear Bunsen barking from up downstairs.
Oh, I thought you might be holding back tears like me.
Well, yes, that one was a wonderful story to hear, because it was heartfelt and heartwarming, and it brings me back to when we lost Callan, and then how lost you were, and it was just really, really eye opening, because of the bond that you guys shared, and just the loss that you felt. Yeah, but I was just thinking, because I just posted a picture of Callan on Twitter. It came up on my Facebook memories, and it's kind of fresh, but it's always good to think about her and reminisce.
It is. So just let's reset before we go to our next speaker. If you're tuning in, this is Pet Chat. We run 2 spaces a week under kind of the Spaces Unleashed moniker, and this is our wholesome, tonight, very heartfelt chat about pets of any kind. I'm Jason. I run the Twitter account for Bunsen and Beaker, and my co-host is Chris, my wife. And our science chat is on Tuesday at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. Our sponsor today is barkandbeyondsupply.com. Wait a second, did I say that right? barkandbeyondsupply.com. And there's a couple tweets of theirs up in the nest, a 5-star review from Banana Chips, and some yummy treats that somebody else gave them a shout out from. If you click, I believe, are they in the space? I don't know if they're in the space. You can click on one of their tweets to head to their profile and then check out their website. Okay, go ahead, Chris.
Yes. So our next 2 are Baden and then Tracy.
I'm sorry, I don't have anything heartwarming to pass along, but you mentioning that Bunsen had a fatty deposit on his chest. Something like that happened with Baden. I was giving him a chest rub and sort of went, oh, that doesn't feel right. did it again, found it again, and it was fairly mobile under the skin, which I understand is a good sign, but it was off to the vet, and they had a feel around and said, yeah, it's probably just a fatty deposit, not to worry about it. If it keeps growing, then we'll worry about it later on. So that's about all I have for today.
But it still made you have a heart attack for a second, right?
Heart attack, passing kittens through my butt, the whole.
Yeah, exactly.
You said this was family hour, okay?
Yeah, it was pretty scary. Yeah, we were a little scared for Bunsen, but it's just a little globular fat.
Yeah, no, it's scary, and it just
go ahead.
Okay, I don't know if you saw my message either. My brain is sort of frazzled right now for COVID reasons, when we won't go there. My thinking process is taking for even longer than you. One of the things that it sort of brings forward when you find something like that or something wrong with your pet is just how attached you get to them and how much they mean in your world, and how much you really don't want to remember that one of these days we live. Maybe I should get turtles. They live forever. One of these days that we'll have to make that final trip with them and do the kindness to them and the unspeakable pain to ourselves. And that's just, I hate looking forward to.
No, I hear ya. That's something that any pet owner has to take on themselves. To switch things to something that's a little bit lighter. There was a viral tweet of this guy, I think in Florida. It's always a Florida man, right? Florida man kidnapped scientist to make his dog immortal. That was about a year ago. This happened. And we retweeted that, I believe. And I think my caption was, well, we don't agree with kidnapping. Dogs should be immortal or something like that, right? Like, you shouldn't go kidnap scientists. I'm not saying find your local scientist, because they may not be able to help you at all, right? They might be an astrophysicist, like some of the scientists we've had on our show, and they're like, I can't help you with your dog. I study space. So anyways, yeah. Well, thanks for sharing that. I'm glad Baden's okay.
Yep. And he's a little discombobulated right now because I'm self-isolating from the rest of the family, who are fine. So he can see my truck in the driveway. He knows I'm around, but he'll only come out to the trailer I'm living in for short periods. And then he'll want to go back in the house. And then Angie says he sits there and mopes. And,
oh, poor guy.
Yeah. Oh, what about me? Anyway, everybody take care as be kind to each other and stay out of trouble unless it takes all the fun out of the day.
Thanks, Rich. Chris, who's next? I'm so glad you're the co-host. We got a lot of speakers today.
Yeah, Tracy, then Ramona.
Perfect. We'll do the draw in about 10 minutes. What do you think?
That sounds great to me.
Okay, over to Tracy.
Hi. So I did start my cat on the new cat first food that I was talking about like last week, and she really likes it a lot, and I don't know, it seems to be going pretty well. So just wanted to share that my cat is doing good.
Yay.
And if we're going to be playing an Encanto song, if we could root for Lin-Manuel Miranda to win his Oscar for Dos Riquitos from Encanto. That happens tomorrow. So technically they're pets. Technically butterflies can be pets. So
yeah. Well, I hope Encanto wins. It's a pretty great movie. Thanks, Tracy. And then over to who, Chris? Sorry.
It's Ramona, then Candy.
Okay, thank you.
Hey guys, just a quick story for you tonight, Chris. I thought this was funny. The having to tackle Bunsen, it reminded me of my red healer, Rio, who is gone, but I had him for 17 years, one of my bestest dogs. But this is a story about vets that are different. Rio, we had a male vet that, because Rio had a lot of the little fatty lipomas, but we would do the needle biopsy every time just to make sure. Well, the male vet, Rio wasn't having any part of it. He literally would try to take his arm off when he would try to needle biopsy one of the little fatty lipomas. So I would have to hold him, and sometimes we'd have to get a little muzzle and put on him because he was not having any part of it. Well, the circumstances happened, and I moved, and I switched vets, and I found a female vet. And Rio would literally stand still, not even moving, not bat an eyelash, and let her repeatedly poke his little fatty lipomas and not do a single thing to her. And so she took care of him the rest of his life. And we made a joke that that was her boyfriend. And I still go, she's still my vet. I travel 30 miles one way to see her because she's still my vet. She's amazing. But like, Rio was not having any part of that man poking him, but when Dr. Brenda Mack would do it, he would just stand there and just let her do it, and it was the cutest thing ever.
It just depends.
That's kind of
Go ahead, Chris.
That's similar. You go ahead, Jason.
No, I'm not saying anything. Go ahead.
That's similar with Dr. Mike. It's Dr. Mike that Bunsen's like, I'm not too sure about you. And Dr. Mike always has treats, always. And Bunsen's like, yes, I'll like you for your treats, but I don't like you really for anything else. So he's like, I know this is going to go south very quickly. I don't know. He's so unsettled right now. But yeah.
He's grumbly. He likes Dr. Pasma. And Dr. Pasma always tricks him. She's like, okay, let's go see. Like, she just tells Bunsen, like, let's go see. And he's like, oh, I want to go see. And then he does whatever. So
I don't know. I think some of the boys like the girls better.
I don't know what he thinks he's going to get to see, but every time it tricks him to do anything. Let's go see. And he's like, okay, I'd like to. Maybe you got, well, yeah, maybe. Do. Okay, so over to Candy. I think Chris is dealing with disgruntled Bunsen.
Yeah, Candy, then Kim.
Perfect. Go ahead, Candy. Hello.
Hey there.
Hi.
How are ya? So I had the opportunity to meet Chris and your wonderful podcast yesterday in another space.
Mm-hmm.
Oops. Sorry, we're having a little technical problem. Anyway, I just wanted to stop by and say that this is a great experience and great podcast that you're having, our podcast spaces. And I just wanted to introduce my dog, Alaz. So he's up there. I didn't know if he wanted to speak. He came over earlier, so he did. And then he got bored and went back to sleep. So he is up in the spaces. That's my pup. He's a Belgian Malinois. And he loves doggy followers. If anyone has a doggy that can follow him, he will follow back. And he is a fun guy. He's 3 years old and the love of my life. So thank you guys for having this. It's so fun.
Candy, does he have an account on Twitter? I missed that. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, he's up there right next to me. You can see him there, alive.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm following him.
Yeah, so that's he just came over. He wants to talk.
Oh, okay, I see. I was so confused. He's in the space as a thing. Okay, I got it now. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, so he actually wanted to talk at first, but he got a little tired waiting. Anyway. So yeah, thanks for that, you guys. It's really exciting to be here. I love your account, and it was fun meeting Chris yesterday. So thanks so much.
Yay. All right. Who's next? Kim and then Carlos? Is that about?
No, it was Candy, Kim, and then Alaz, Paula, and then Carlos.
Okay, sorry. All right, yep. Go ahead, Kim.
Hi there. How's everyone tonight?
We are good.
Good. Glad to hear that. Two very quick little things. My neighbor up the street has a burner. And just because we walk at different times and they're a little further up the street, I don't often see Finn's girlfriend, the burner. But I saw her this week, all nearly 100 pounds of her. And I got to scritch her ears and I was in absolute burner heaven.
Aw.
And tying into your earlier story about, wild animals, coyotes, you live out in the middle of nowhere and have wild animals. I'm in the city. I'm tucked right underneath the Niagara Escarpment. I can, 5 minutes, I'm at the Niagara Escarpment. Apparently, we have coyotes that are running right along the base of the escarpment. So when I walk my poor little Finn, all 32 pounds of, coyote appetizer,
oh no,
I now have to start carrying a hockey stick.
Keep your stick on the ice, eh?
Not if a coyote's coming after my Finn.
Yeah,
no.
5 minutes for high check for 5 minutes for high sticking.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that we don't meet any of them because Finn's girlfriend probably won't come rescue him like Bunsen did for Beaks.
Yes.
But I'm really hoping that we don't meet. And that was it for my stories. Thanks a lot, and I'm going to continue listening. And you guys have an awesome week.
Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. I don't know if she was picking up your hockey jokes there, Jason.
Oh, it's just a hockey thing.
It's pretty Canadian.
But coyotes are an issue. I've heard people in Los Angeles complain about coyotes, depending on where they live. I think they're just not like dogs, right? They, wild dogs will scrounge for food, in most cities. So while we're out in the country and we hear them and we see them, it's just, they can be anywhere at any time.
Yeah, for sure. So we have Kim T and then Alaz.
Wait, I think Kim just went, didn't she?
Yes. Yes, she did. So Alaz and then Paula.
And Alaz is dog to Candy.
Oh, right.
Right, yeah. You already found me.
So
thank you. Take care.
That's why
I am so sorry.
I
am trying to type the names because Jason said, "Hey, we're doing the draw," and I said, "What? I thought this one." And now I'm frantically dealing with Barky Pants and entering the names into the spin the wheel, and being co-host extraordinaire is a little stretch. It's a little hot in the kitchen here. So we have Paula, then Carlos.
Yep. I'll run it from now on. It's okay. You can get your stuff done. Go ahead, Paula. Hello.
Hey, hi, everybody. How's it going? And let me just say real quick, I'm glad Bunsen's doing well. Teen, I'm really sorry about Pink Posy. She was such a sweet little dog. And Rich, I hope you feel better, buddy. Nothing worse than COVID. So I hope you guys get well soon. I'm just going to be really quick. I kind of had a really bad week. Olive is not feeling well, and she's kind of going through some stuff, and we don't know what's going on, but her levels are kind of all over the map, and we don't know if it's the Cushing's coming back, but we can't do that test because right now she's on antibiotics and her platelets are kind of high, and she's got, of all things, high cholesterol. So she's got all these things and diarrhea. So the poor dog ate 5 bites in the last day and a half, and I'm kind of panicking. So
I'm sorry to hear that.
So I just, I don't want to be downer tonight, but I just want to thank everybody that's my friends on here and Twitter friends that just been sending so many nice thoughts and prayers for Olive because I really appreciate it. She's my soul dog. So, and like that other lady had said about dogs having souls, they do, because I do believe that dogs can be reincarnated. I've had stories from friends that would blow your socks off because they knew tricks and words and everything and did the same thing that the dog passed away did. So, you never know what happens. We don't know what happens in afterlife, but the dogs give so much love. I mean, what the heck? How can they not come back? So, but thank you guys. I'm glad Bunsen's okay. Thanks for the Moose Creek laugh. That made my night last night. I mean, it really did. I was watching it in a restaurant and my husband's like, really? And I'm like, because we were just coming home from the vet and I'm like, yeah, I really want to see this. So I was like listening to you guys in the restaurant and I'm like, oh my God, he's got a deer leg. It's like
so embarrassing.
Oh, but it was all good, guys. We love you. So, so have a good night and thanks again.
Well, we're thinking about you and Olive, Paula. So I hope there's a good outcome there.
Thank you so much.
Okay, we're gonna go to Carlos, and then we're gonna move through our new speakers. Carlos, there was a glitch. You said you were in. You said you were here, and then you weren't, but now you are. So I don't know what's going on, but you're here now.
Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, I am in South America, in Caracas, Venezuela. So I have just like 4 connections, different connections, and I had to switch because they are very sensible to weather. Now it's a little bit rainy, so I switched to that.
Ooh, I think you're breaking
so
up.
You can, because I was on the room, but you couldn't see me.
Yeah.
But then when I went from Wi-Fi to data,
you're breaking up, Carlos. Carlos, you're breaking up a bit right now. Our other speakers.
Okay, now it's better.
A little bit.
Now it's better.
It's a little bit better. Yeah. Go ahead. We'll try to get through your story, and then if you're breaking up too much, you can maybe type it and I'll read it. Oh.
No.
Go ahead.
Okay. Okay.
I'm sorry, Carlos. I think you're breaking up too much. Oh, I'm so sorry.
It's breaking too much still?
Yeah, you're coming in and out. Our other speakers is Carlos.
Okay. In 3 minutes, I'm gone. Okay.
I don't think we can hear you, Carlos. Folks in the audience sometimes is on a different bandwidth. Give me a peace sign if you can't hear Carlos. Okay, so you can't hear him. So Carlos, I don't mind reading your story, but unfortunately, whatever your signal is, we can't hear you. And I'm so sorry about that. The technology just didn't work out for you. Okay, so we're gonna go to Donna, and then to Riley, and then to Kay Lucchini. Chris is busy, so hopefully I got the order right. Just be patient, and we'll try our best to get to you.
Oh, Carlos, lo siento. Would have been cool to hear a story from Venezuela.
Okay, can you hear me now?
I can. You might break up again. Try one more time.
Okay.
Try one more time, then we'll go to Donna.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will go really, really fast with this. I have a friend in Australia who is a stand-up comedian, a fellow stand-up comedian, and he told me a story like 3 months ago that I couldn't believe it was true because it was so weird, so funny. But now he sent me, and I'm going to send you the actual link from an Australian newspaper where the real news, he did leave something exactly like this that you're going to hear. It is this. There was a Dalmatian, okay, who was obviously has a Dalmatian, who was spotted, and he found, he adopted a spotted lamb. That happened in 2012. A doting Dalmatian was seen taking care of a spotted newborn, but the astonishing thing was that it was actually a spotted lamb. The abandoned crossbred lamb was taken in by a female Dalmatian with no pups no pups of her own, according to Australian's website PM. And now the mother is actually cleaning it and licking it and mothering it, and it tries to mother up to her other, but it gets bottled instead, explained the newspaper PM. Okay. So this, my friend, it happened to a neighbor of him in Australia. He's living, like 1 month ago, he was telling me this story. And I was telling me, I told him, I couldn't believe that. And last week, he sent me the newspaper link. I'm going to send you right now. It's in a newspaper, and you can see even a picture of the Dalmatian taking care of the dotted lamb. So in case you want to put that on the nest. Bye-bye. Thank you very much.
Yay, I'm glad it worked.
Yeah, I'm so glad the signal worked. I was very worried there it was not working, but we got our story from Venezuela. Okay, go ahead, Donna.
Oh, that was a cool story. I always love stories like that when other cross animals come and take care of other animals, like the tiger that nursed the piglets. That's one of my favorite, that they wrap the piglets in tiger skin to make it look like baby tigers, and the tiger fed that piglet, which is kind of the coolest. But wanted to give a shout out to Paula, who is always so super positive and comments on everyone's post everywhere. Same with Kathy. I see her on there. The herd, I've been thinking a lot about y'all lately, and we'll do anything. Every time you have a GoFundMe up, you're getting a donation from me, because you're an angel on earth to take care of these animals that no one is speaking up for. So wanted to give that shout out. But my story this week is I was listening to the pod that you guys were on with Indra and the Positivity Vibe Tribe, and I found it fascinating. And there's a reason why I adore you guys, Jason and Chris, so much, because you radiate it through everything you do. But unfortunately, I had to duck out at the tail end of that, because I don't know if y'all saw my note. We had tornado klaxons going off in Dallas. So there was actually a tornado that hit 2 miles from where I was, and we have this whole rigmarole that we have to go through when there's a tornado. And I haven't lived in Tornado Alley in a long time, and so at first it took me a minute, like, is Russians bombing us? And then I realized, hey, it's tornado sirens. So having to kind of herd cats, find the cat Callie, who's trying to bring me fake mice, go get the dog Sasha, get your phone, get your wallet, get to the closet with water and food. So we're hanging out in the closet. Those sirens were so loud. I've never heard them so loud. And Sasha is the only husky I've ever seen in my life that doesn't bark. She doesn't talk. She doesn't bark. Nothing. She's quiet. She just breathes heavy on you and sounds like those mouth breathers. And it was so crazy. She started howling, which I've never heard her howl before. Her brother used to when he was still alive, but she was howling and talking to every ancestor where I live. And Callie was freaking out, like, here's a stuffed animal. Calm down. We're fine. We have food and water. We're good. So I just wanted to say, Indra, your pod or your spaces was awesome. And Chris and Jason, you guys telling your stories give me hope. Even though I'm a grown up and probably older than you guys, I still have a lot of growing up to do in that area. And I just wanted to thank y'all for that. Not everybody talks about it. So it was truly awesome. And that's my story.
Thank you so much, Donna. Yeah, we had a lot of fun in Indra's space, Positivity Vibe Tribe. I think there is a recording. If you click on Indra's in the chat right now. I don't know if Steven's here too. Steven was the co-host, but Indra's here, and there's a recording probably out there of it. I can maybe find it, and I'll tweet that out if you want to listen to
I actually got to listen to the tail end of it, and Indra and I connected because she told the story in her pod about me and the cat and no privacy in the shower and the bathroom. So we've connected, but I got a chance to listen to it because I follow her on Twitter now as well. So it was really awesome. I'm just sorry I had to duck out and couldn't hear it live.
Yeah, and Stephen is here, Jason, for sure.
Well, thanks, Donna. Sorry, I'm just a little distracted. I'm dealing with like everything that with DMs and stuff like that. I didn't mean to just say, yeah, that's a great story and then move on. But yeah, that I do see that there's like some superstars on here that they do such a good job of cheering everybody on, and it really means a lot. Actually, you think that Chris and I don't see the comments and things like that, but we do. We do see the comments that people put, and it really gives us a little boost to our day. What folks?
Yeah, shout out Liz too. Forgot her. Mm-hmm. So I know she's working right now, but Liz is really awesome about that too for everybody. I see her all over the place.
Okay, I believe the next person was Riley, and then we'll check on the new requests. Go ahead, Riley.
Awesome, real quick. Carlos, mi hermano, esta es gran historia. Muy bueno, gracias. Just real quick, in Chicago, we have a lot of urban coyotes. Mm-hmm. I have literally seen something the size of a gray wolf wandering down 2 blocks away from my house. So it's always interesting to listen to how coyotes adjust and how they become urban predators, but also urban neighbors. So we had years ago, because of the way the train tracks come into downtown Chicago, every once in a while, because the coyotes will come and follow the train tracks, we will literally have a young coyote right smack dab in the middle of the Chicago Loop area. And usually they get a little freaked out because somebody sees them and it's becoming daylight. And so they will go and hide under the nearest available area. So they've literally hid under taxi cabs. They've hid in, behind garbage dumpsters. And it's always a great fun to listen to how the cops are dealing with these little urban coyotes who have followed the train tracks up into Chicago, which is, the hog butcher of America, because every single train track that comes across the United States ends up in one way or another in Chicago, and how they come through and how they end up dealing with all of this urban wildlife. So we have all sorts of stuff. We have coyotes, we have gray wolves, we have raccoons the size of Buicks. So I was enjoying listening to talking about all of the different things that come through, because everything that comes through, it comes through Chicago, because we're the hog butcher of the United States. It's awesome.
You can get, the other thing I was thinking about, who was talking about they were scared about taking their dog for a walk? Are you still a speaker? I'm sorry.
I'm here.
Right. But there's like little jackets you can get for little dogs that got spikes all over them that make them really, was that Kim maybe? I don't know. Somebody said they didn't really want to walk their little dog. But you can get little spiky vests for dogs that make them super unattractive to coyotes to take a snack on. If you don't have a giant Bernese Mountain Dog to guard your back, like Bunsen protected Beaker when Beaker just about became a snack last year.
Well, we have, in addition to my Bunsen, we have our Akita plus me. So you've got a good 400 pounds of something moving along while we go on a walk. So I have never run into an issue, except for skunks. Skunks do not respect volume. They do not respect numbers. They do not respect sizes.
Nope.
So there are a lot of skunks in urban Chicago, and there's no way to come back from that.
They remind that we've chatted before. There's 2 animals that just don't give an F in where we live. They're porcupines and badgers. Like they just don't care. Maybe Canada geese too, but they're not predators. Canada geese are just awful. But yeah, badgers and porcupines, they move at their own speed. And badgers will straight up attack a bear. So they're kind of like they're the wild card where we live. Board_AF, you're a private account. And we don't generally bring private accounts up, and you don't follow us. I'm so sorry, but you may be an amazing person with an amazing story, but we don't take that chance bringing up.
Hey, Chris, can you give me 20 seconds? 10 seconds just for commenting. Sure. 10 seconds for telling that in Napa Valley, I just was talking this morning with a friend living in the Napa Valley area, and it's very, very misty, the weather, and very cloudy, and there is a lot of coyotes there. And the second thing, I want to thank Indra from Caracas from the other day, like 3 weeks ago. She asked me to, she wanted to interview me. And let me tell you, it has been until now one of the best interviews in my life. I have been 42 years in the media, in radio and television here in Venezuela. And what a hell of interview. What a wonderful time we had together. Thank you, Indra. I send you plenty of love and good luck and good blessings for you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Oh, that's awesome. I think our last speaker is going to be Chris B. Chris B. Fire. And then we'll do the draw. I think you're ready for that, Chris, hey?
Well, I just took Bunsen and Beaker out. Bunsen, yeah. It's been times and shows, I tell you. This could be part of the chapter of shenanigans.
Shenanigans. Go ahead, Chris B. Fire. Fire emoji. Chris Biffits, Spaces host. Go ahead. Oh, are you having trouble with your audio? Maybe.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
My bad. I was on a Discord call. Now it's coming out of my phone's audio, so I can't hear anything, but it's okay. So I'm Chris B. Whatever. I'm a photographer, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to give you my life story, but this title is Pet Chat, so I figure I'd give my pretty interesting pet story. I had a little cat I had most of my adolescent life, and he hung out with me as I traveled and went to like 3 different states, and he just didn't come home one day, and I had to go get another cat, and that other cat saved my life pretty much. So I made that my first NFT. That's my pet story, but that's about it. I just want to say hi to Carlos, but he's gone.
Oh,
he's down there.
He's down there. Well, thanks for coming up, Chris.
Yeah, of course, man. Appreciate you having the space.
Yeah. Edelwood Boy DM'd me, so we'll add that person. And then I think we're gonna do the draw. This will be our last speaker tonight. Edelwood Boy, go ahead.
Hi guys, sorry, I'm from Scotland, so my accent is quite strong and quite thick. So can you understand me?
Yep.
Cool. Right, I've got 2. I was not a big fan of dogs until my partner said, I want a dog. I went, I do not want one. So we ended up with 2. so I've got 2 Labradors. One is 3. He's a black Labrador, and his name's Ghost, which I thought was really ironic for a black dog. And the other one's called Luna. She's 5. So they are literally mental. As a Scottish colloquialism, they are nuts.
Okay.
They're lying sleeping just now. Ghost, we had a wee bit of trouble with him recently. He run away. We've got lots of hills and Munros and mountains and stuff in Scotland, as you can imagine. My partner called me one day and went, I've lost a dog.
Oh, no.
You've what? You've lost a dog? A Ghost has pretty much fucked off, pardon the language, which her words, not mine. He basically was like pretending to be a sheep herding dog, and he ran away down a mountainside into a field, rounded up all the sheep into the corner, and done the farmer's dog's job for him.
Okay.
And we got a £1,000 fine for it.
You should have got paid for doing the farmer's job there.
We should have, but to be fair, in Scotland it's a wee bit different. Obviously, you guys, I know the gun. I don't want to harp on as a UK citizen about the gun laws in America, but in Scotland, if a dog goes into a farmer's field, he has the right to shoot that dog.
Oh yeah. Well, you don't want that to happen.
Correct, which scared the living daylights out of me. However, the farmer didn't press charges, but the police did because it was called what's known as sheep worrying. It's in WORYING.
Okay.
And I'm like, so I need to pay £1,000, which is probably nearly $2,000.
Oh.
Because my dog worried a sheep, even though he done the job that the farmer's dog is employed to do.
Oh man.
So that is a great tale, and that's why I jumped in and tried to tell you.
That is a great tale. I'm so sorry you're out all that money though.
Listen, I'd rather be £1,000 down and keep my dog, than my missus phone me and say the dog's been shot, because the farmer had every right to, in his area, his land, to do what he wish with any foreign body, whether it's me or someone else trespassing. He's got the right to shoot them, which is fucking horrendous, but that's the way the world works, unfortunately. However, he's now class, lying in his bed sleeping just now. No idea that he cost his dad £1,000 or nearly $2,000, and he's still the most handsome boy in the world. And also, do any have any? Every time we've said this, right? People like, if any of you have ever seen the TV show Power, there's a character called Ghost.
Yes, in Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Well, weirdly enough, there's a husky literally round the corner from where I live called Stark, which is a white husky, and he looks like Ghost from Game of Thrones. I called him Ghost after Power because I thought, you know what, prominent black, and he's so dark it's not real. Like, I have to literally, if the lights are off, I have to watch where I'm standing because I can't see him.
No,
it's so dark. I've almost stood in his head 3 times in the last maybe 4 or 5 nights. He's lying just now sleeping, so when I leave this chat, I'm going to have to turn the light on to see where the fuck he's lying, so I don't stand in his head. He's 45 kilos and thin as a pin.
Well,
he is a unit.
Don't step on Ghost. Bunsen, our Bernese Mountain Dog, he is mostly dark, right? He's got some white. But in the night when he's outside, he disappears into the inky blackness. So he is like a ghost in the dark, I guess. Well, thanks for sharing your story. We're gonna move on to the draw, and our speakers are still waiting. You'll just have to come back next week.
A draw? What draw do you speak of?
We've got a draw. We're gonna have a draw for a prize. Anybody still in the space? Anybody in the space right now? Chris has everybody's name on a wheel. And she's going to spin this virtual wheel. And if your name comes up, you win a prize from our sponsor, barkandbeyond.com, supply.com, barkandbeyondsupply.com.
Okay, so I'm going to spin, and there might be some names that I entered previously that aren't here anymore, and then I'll spin again if that's the case.
Well, you know what they say, you snooze, you lose.
Correct.
There you go.
Okay, go ahead, Chris.
I'm just looking here. I'm just going to look for this person.
Ghost wins because he's black.
It's a regular person that we normally have. Dr. Nancy Von Meyer.
Oh, right.
Dr. Nancy.
Dr. Nancy. Okay, so Nancy, I'll contact you and we'll get our sponsor in touch with you. Congratulations.
Yeah. I'm glad you're still here because I put your name in and you're still here. So I have to do my double check. So that's awesome.
Woohoo! Congratulations. It's, you know what? They need to do a different, the clapping emoji and the waving emoji. I think they need to change that up. They kind of look the same. I don't know. That's just my gripe. I missed the 100. That's one thing. I hope they bring back the 100. I hear rumbling that they're going to bring back some emojis and you can pick the ones that you want, but we'll see.
We'll see. If I use my old phone that isn't updated, I still have the 100. Jason. It's true.
It's true.
It's true.
Somebody was wanting us just to talk a little bit about their dog. So Patience Paul had a dog named Princess. She was very old, and they lost their dog this week. So I don't know if Patience Paul is still in the chat. And we just want to say we're very sorry to hear that. Patience Paul did not want to come up to speak. So I thought I would just mention that because they DM'd us. Okay, so I think we're going to wrap up the space. Do you have anything else to say, Chris, before we wrap up?
I just want to say thank you to everybody who came and shared their pet stories. And I see that Paula has her hand up. So we will let Paula speak. Go ahead.
You got to know, I got to know the fish tank story. I can't.
Oh, the fish tank story.
It's going to be a cliffhanger. It's going to be a cliffhanger.
Reader Digest version. I mean, something.
You know what we can do? What we
can do?
Well, it'll go with my little pitch here. So I have an idea. So,
okay, what's your idea?
Okay, we'll close out the space with my idea. Thanks so much for everybody coming tonight for Pet Chat. We had so many amazing speakers with, very heartfelt stories to make you ponder, stories to make you laugh, and stories that might brought a tear to your eye. But that's how we roll here in Pet Chat. Thanks to our speakers. Chris, thanks for being a great co-host. Today was a little bananas. And I
BANANAS banana.
That's right. So I think what we'll do with your fish tank story is we can make an audio file of that and put it on Bunsen and Beaker's private Twitter account. So one of the things we've done to get around not being able to have super follows as Canadians is at any tier level on our Patreon page, you have access to the Bunsen and Beaker Unleashed Patreon Twitter account. So you just have to sign up and you get access there. And then Chris, maybe you can just read out your turtle tank story, and that will be on the private Twitter account. Next week, Tuesday, is our science chat, and we have a civil engineer who's going to be talking to us. So a very different type of science, the science of building buildings, roads, and keeping our cities moving. So it's going to be, I'm breaking up. Chris says I'm breaking up. Well, okay. I'll just close out the space then. So come next Tuesday, we have a civil engineer. It's going to be amazing. And again, thank you so much for coming. And Nancy, I'll be in touch with you to get you in contact with our sponsor.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. We really appreciate you for science, empathy, and cuteness.
Space ending in 3, 2, 1. Take care, everybody.